Hello, everyone. Welcome to the December edition of Jumpstart's Facebook Live. I'm Laura Levine. It is great to see you and great to have you here with us. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for sticking around. I hope you weren't waiting too long as we tried to get our technology up and running. As you can see, this is a new format for us. It is probably a little bit more of my face than anyone needs to see, but we're going to try this new format because in the future, it's going to enable us to do more broadcasting from remote locations and to talk with some of the folks, some of our partners from across the country. So we decided to change it up a little bit and start right now with December. Thank you for waiting for us. And I just wanted to welcome everyone, whether you've been a follower of us on this Facebook page for National Jumpstart, or whether you followed us on our National Educator Conference page, or perhaps you may be joining us for the first time. However you managed to get here, we welcome you, and we're so glad that you're with us and that you found us here today. And especially if you've been waiting for a few minutes as we got up and running, thank you for your patience. So it's December. Believe it or not, the year is almost over. It went by very quickly. I don't know if you're like me, but I just can't believe where the time went. But it's December, and it's time to talk about our December financial literacy principle, which is holiday shopping. And of course, you know, holiday shopping isn't a financial literacy principle in and of itself, but this time of year gives us a great opportunity to be able to talk about prudent spending, smart shopping, comparison shopping, saving, budgeting, just a lot of things that go into holiday shopping that you and your family, and your kids, your students can use really throughout the year. And so I think that, you know, a lot of you who have followed us here, and I know many of you have heard me say on so many occasions that I like shopping. I like giving gifts. I like wrapping gifts. I like shopping for gifts. I like the whole thing. And so it really saddens me when I hear people say that they're not going to give gifts in sort of in the spirit of financial literacy. And, you know, bah humbug to all of that. I think that certainly, you know, at this time of year when our world seems to need a little extra good cheer and a little extra goodwill, I say, you know, let's be good to each other. And one of the ways that we can express our love to our family and friends is by giving gifts. And so it is part of our culture for most of us, I think. It is a wonderful time to express our love and our appreciation for our friends. So giving gifts and good money management are not mutually exclusive terms. I think that since we live in a world where gift giving is a social norm, and especially prevalent at this time of year, I think our gift to our young people is, instead of removing that from the equation, I think our gift to them is showing them how to do it well, how to plan, how to budget, how to shop wisely, and how to think of creative ways of giving gifts that maybe don't involve spending much money, or maybe not spending any at all. And so, you know, I do want to say that before we talk about this, that I'm really not saying that you ought to be buying gifts, spending money and giving gifts if it's something that your family doesn't already do, and or if really this year your budget can't handle it. And that happens to us from time to time, and it certainly is understandable. So I don't want to say that you ought to be buying gifts if there are reasons that you shouldn't or choose not to. But I think that since it's something that so many of us do, the best thing we can do to help guide our young people is to show them how to do it well. And I think that if you remember nothing else from today, I think shopping at this time of year or any time of year, it is most important, one, to have a plan, two, to have a budget, and three, to make up your mind that you're going to stick with it. We talk a lot about finance and in financial education, and there's a lot of things that we need to know, but so much of prudent money management is mindset, and it's practice, and it is deciding that we can and should do the right thing in terms of being prudent with our money, as opposed to just knowing about how it all works. Now, of course, there are lots of things that we should know and do want young people to know, but I think that especially when we talk about spending and shopping, the right mindset and the right plan really, really will go a long, long way. And so I think that, when we work with our young people, and I know some of this advice is really for all of us as adult consumers and really for anybody out shopping at this time of year, I kind of want to focus on how we do this with our kids. And this is, as with so many lessons, the place that we want to start is setting a good example. So I think that, as we talk to our kids and as we shop with them, we want to also set a good example in the shopping that we're doing. I think that one of the things that I sometimes like to share with people is that the holiday season sometimes is not the best time to do the exercise where you give your kids a budget and turn them loose to manage the money on their own, and an experiment and experience in managing money for themselves. Now, I really believe in that exercise. Works very well at back to school shopping time, works very well with your kids, especially your older kids, in some of their extracurricular activities and how to budget and sometimes on things like vacations. But there is a little bit of a difference at holiday shopping, and that is when we turn money over to our kids or they use their own money and we say, well, let's see how you do. And let's see if the money will last and if you can make the money last. The challenge with holiday shopping is that sometimes it's the gift recipient rather than the gift giver who deals with the consequences of perhaps overspending or not sticking to the budget. And so that, of course, sometimes harms the wrong person and also doesn't make the lesson stick for your child as well. So what do? Well, the budget and the planning are still really, really important. But I think this is the time where we as parents, as teachers, as adults, should spend that time to following the budget with our own kids, and especially the younger ones. I think that this is a time of year, well, we're always busy, let's face it, right? We're always over busy, and this time of year is especially busy. But if you can spare the time, and especially when we talk so much about the holidays being family time and time to do things together, this is a great time to work on holiday shopping with your kids and work on budgeting, planning, comparison shopping, and consumer safety. And so consumer safety, everything from knowing your rights as a consumer, the importance of saving things like receipts, of being careful where you put personal information like your credit card. All of those consumer safety issues are very important, perhaps even in a heightened way right now at the holiday time. I think that it's a great time to do this exercise because well, frankly, sales are good right now. Black Friday, Jumpstart is always closed on Black Friday. I mean, the day after Thanksgiving. So we do our share of supporting the economy as well. But because sales are good, it is a time to help your kids spend money wisely and use these sales as an exercise in comparison shopping. An important thing that when we're working with young people and helping them do this maybe for the first time on their own is to remind them not only to comparison shop, but to compare values and suitabilities rather than just prices. And so, you may have two items that are, one is way more expensive than the other, but it might be because they aren't exactly the same thing. They're not the same quality, or they don't have all the same features. So comparison shopping isn't just comparing prices, it's comparing the item that you're getting overall. And so those are things that I think are great for us to talk with our kids about. And then when you do go out shopping, and this is a great advice, I think, for any of us, help your kids chunk their shopping lists into maybe a few items per shopping excursion or per online setting, so that we don't get overwhelmed. And when we get overwhelmed as shoppers, that's really when we tend to cave into impulses. We get a little flustered and we just grab something without thinking about it. So if we chunk our list, maybe each excursion, do a couple of things on your list and stick just to that. That's a great way of helping to focus and not get carried away. And then it's also a point where you can do check-ins along the way to make sure that you're staying on budget. I think that I just want to pause for a moment and say that, there are so many great ideas for how to shop safely and responsibly during the holidays. And a lot of these great ideas are coming from Jumpstart partners and others that we know that I would encourage you to follow them on social media and seek out some of those tools. Also look in the Jumpstart Clearinghouse for educational tools that deal with shopping and spending. There are a number of budgeting tools that are very appropriate for use with kids and teens that are part of the resources on our clearinghouse. So use the clearinghouse resources and follow the wonderful advice that many of our Jumpstart Coalition partners are putting out at this time of year. I would also say then, many of you have great ideas, especially parents, teachers. Some of the things that have worked for you, would you put them in the comments right below here, right below us, and add them so that other viewers can see them and see what you have had success doing over the years. Oops, I'm dropping my piece of paper here. So I think that then the other part of holiday shopping is being creative and thinking about ways that you can get into the spirit of the season and give gifts without spending a lot of money, and sometimes without spending much at all or anything at all. And it's a great time to be creative. Homemade gifts. I love homemade gifts. And one of the things that I think is a great idea for homemade gifts is to make the making of those gifts part of the celebration. So maybe it is you and your family, or maybe your child gathers some of their friends and together they make gifts or bake cookies or do some sort of activity where the making of those gifts is part of the celebration itself, and then divide them up to give them away to various friends and family members. So this is a wonderful way to have that family time or time with friends, and make homemade gifts that lots of folks enjoy. Thought gifts, I think, are a wonderful thing. And by thought gifts, it's sometimes a service or something that you can do that's nice for someone that would truly be a gift to them. And I will tell you that one of my favorite thought gifts, in case anyone was wondering, is the offer to babysit my son's bearded dragon. So sometimes finding a bearded dragon sitter isn't the easiest thing in the world, and amazingly, not all pet sitters will take them. So if we certainly have friends and family members, thank you, Uncle Jeff, who have volunteered to babysit our bearded dragon when we go away on vacation and sometimes at the holidays. And that is the kind of gift that is so valuable. So your kids can do this. Maybe their gift to an elderly relative or neighbor, is to help mow the lawn or shovel the snow. Maybe it is, if you have teens, they can give the gift of babysitting. Anything like that is a wonderful thing to receive and something that doesn't cost money. So we would love, Heather is posting right now, share your holiday success stories and do share with us some of the things that have worked out for you. Because one of the things about this broadcast is we do have lots of viewers. And I want to thank many of our viewers who aren't watching us live, but who watch us after we've recorded the Facebook Live. So they come back and they also see all the comments. So do share your successes and your ideas and resources there below. And then I think most importantly is that sharing the holiday spirit, and that of course is the spirit of charity and giving to others, not just those on our gift giving list, but those who are less fortunate. And I think that is a lot of the real spirit of the season. This is something that is a special thing to do and a special thing to demonstrate for our kids and to help them enjoy giving to others. And I know that when my son was in elementary school, I think one of the most significant things for him is one year his class decided that instead of doing a gift exchange with each other, they did angel gifts, and each child in the class was paired with the name of a child who was less fortunate. And instead of giving gifts to each other, they gave a gift to the name that they were given. And when my son started to understand that this gift might be the only toy that this child would receive this year, he really took it to heart, and he spent a very long time picking out the gift. He understood the significance of it. And so this is a great way to exercise prudent spending, but also in a way that helps our kids, recognize those beyond just themselves. Giving doesn't just have to be at the holiday time, and it could be just before and just after. And I know one of the things that we do at our house is that either just before, as we're getting ready for the holidays, or sometimes right after, as we're putting away the presents that we got, is to think about some of those things that you're ready to part with to make room for more. And this is a great way of doing it with young kids who can understand this is giving of themselves, and that it's another way of sharing with those less fortunate while they're enjoying the good fortune of the gifts that they've received. I think that when giving a gift to charity, or making a donation in someone else's name, is a wonderful gift for an adult. It is something that we hope our children will appreciate someday, but they don't always, and certainly not when they're younger. And I think that oftentimes a better way to help them appreciate giving to those less fortunate is for them to give something of their own. I think that also, to go back, a little bit more to the presents, but also the charitable giving, is that if you allocate money, if your children aren't spending their own money, if you're buying presents you're spending your money to buy presents that they give, by setting a budget to do this, allocating a set amount of budget for them to do this, and to allocate both for their own gift giving for family and friends as well as for charity, and then letting the child spend that allocation, it is a way of really making this meaningful to them, even when you're spending your money, because it's their allocation and it's something they have control over, and they then start to feel really connected to it. So important both for a gift giving, the gift list, as well as how we show our kids how to share with those less fortunate. So I think that was just sort of a quick rundown of a number of the things that are important to me and that I try to think about during this gift giving time. But I do really hope that if your family gives gifts, think about how to help your kids learn to spend wisely, to plan and budget, to make up your mind to stick to that budget, and to be a smart, savvy, and safe consumer. And by setting an example and by working with our own kids to do this, it is a great way to enjoy the holidays and learn some practices that will serve them well next year at the holidays, as well as during all of the shopping opportunities in between. So it is December 12th, and this year that means it is the first night of Hanukkah, starting tonight. And so I just want to wish a joyous celebration of lights for all of you who are looking forward to celebrating tonight. And for everyone else, as we go into the rest of the holiday season, happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, happy holidays to all of you, no matter what you and your family celebrate this year. And best wishes to all of you for a very happy, healthy, and financially literate start to 2018. Happy holidays, happy new year. We look forward to seeing you back here with us next month, and in fact next year, on Tuesday, January 9th. It will be the second Tuesday of the month and of the year at 3 p.m. Eastern, right back here. We hope all of the technology glitches are out, and we'll get started right on time. But in the meantime, wishing you and yours a wonderful holiday season, a happy new year. Hope to see you in January.